a dog trial, and I wanted to talk about this while it was fresh in my mind. So, I know this is an impromptu live. I haven't announced it. No one knows I'm live unless you're jumping on right now. So what I'll do is I'll give everybody a couple of minutes to jump on. And then I'm going to talk about why your dog fails in trial. And when I speak about trial, I'm talking about sport competition, dog sport, whatever sport you might be in. Now, obviously, some sports are significantly more challenging than others. I'm going to be talking specifically about bite sports, whether it's PSA, IGP, ring sport, whatever bite sport you're involved in. And we are going to talk about why your dog fails in trial, because I see a lot of people, and I was there myself, right? Where you would go into the trial with all these hopes and expectations, and you would come out of that trial just be like, what the hell happened? Like, what dog is this? This isn't my dog. This isn't, you know, what we've practiced. This isn't how he looked in training. He doesn't look like the dog that I've been training. And I'm going to talk about why that is. I'm going to talk about why that is, because it took me a while to figure this out. And unfortunately, I didn't have any trial prep courses. Like, I know now, I did a trial prep course, and hey, listen, I'm going to take full credit. I did a trial prep course because I didn't see another one out there. Now I know a couple of other people did a trial prep course, but there just wasn't a lot of information out there unless you really got to talk to experienced dog sport competitors about how to trial prep. And here's the thing with trial prep, it really changes from dog to dog. There are different types of dogs that require different types of trial prep, and you kind of have to tailor it uniquely to each dog, right? Because you've got different types. You got more biddable, you got, you know, you got more independent, you got dogs that have a little more nerve, you have dogs that have really extreme drives, and the different character traits and drive traits of those dogs affect how they react to trial and affect how they go through a trial. But I'll give it, let's see, let me give it about 1 minute. And if you guys want to drop questions in, I might get to them after I'm done my little spiel here. But again, I wanted to get to this while it was fresh in my mind. Also, I see 38 people that just jumped on. Guys, drop a like, okay? It costs you absolutely nothing. I'm going to drop some pretty big value. I'm going to say some stuff that I wish someone had said to me when I was a young dog sport competitor, when I didn't know my ass from my elbow, and I kept going into trials with all these hopes and expectations, and then just walking away being like, what in God's name happened? Like, why? So let's answer that why. I see you guys. How's it going? Yeah, it really sucks. You know, people really, like, you know, we say, it's just dog sport. It's just dog sport. It doesn't matter that much. But when you're there on that day and you've put in the years of work, because oftentimes we're talking years of work, years of repetitions, years of training, thousands and thousands of dollars and thousands of hours expended, and now you're there and you say, it's a dog sport title, who cares, it's not a big deal. And it might not be a big deal in the grand scheme of the world, but in that moment it is a huge deal to you. I have seen people cry on the field. I have wanted to cry when I came off the field at times. You know, I have seen people in their highest point mentally, emotionally, and in their lowest point mentally and emotionally on the dog sport field after they come off, right? And you know, it's something that the reality is the vast majority of people that step onto that trial field have put quite a lot of work in. It might not be the right work, but they have put work in, and work is meaningful. Your time is meaningful. It might be a hobby, it's a passion, whatever, but it still means something to you. Otherwise you wouldn't do it, right? So it's worth doing well, and it's worth understanding. And this is something that would drive me absolutely crazy, man. Like, it would drive me absolutely crazy. Hold on a second. All right, guys. Let's get after it. All right, I'm gonna wait until there are 30 likes, and then I'm gonna start with why your dog fails. There are 57 of you cheap bastards watching. Drop a like, it costs you absolutely nothing. I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of free value here. And from there, I guarantee you, if you listen to this, a lot of you are probably gonna be able to make some positive improvements on that trial day when you step on the field with your dog. Or if you have a friend that's doing it, if you have a friend that's gonna be jumping on the field with their dog, you can tell them this. Maybe they've never heard it before, or maybe they have, but I guarantee you, not a lot of people talk about the difference between training and trialing. Those are two very different things. A lot of people conflate training a dog to do things with training a dog to trial, and those are two completely separate things. Trust me on that. Someone says, dogs just like people have off days. Yeah, they have off days, but just like people, fortune favors the prepared. I'm coming back right now from a PSA trial where my friend Lucas trialed for his PDC and his PSA 1, and guess what? This is his very first PSA trial. And those of you that don't know who Lucas is, if you've watched some of my YouTube videos, you've seen Lucas and his black Malwa Hammy, and they've been training really hard for less than a year, right? And he just walked away from that trial with a PSA 1, with a PDC and the first leg of his PSA 1, and he earned that in 2 days. So props to him. A lot of work went into that for him, and I'm really happy for him. But every time I go to dog trials, I love watching the successful people, and I love watching the people that aren't successful, because there is things to be learned from everybody. And every time I trial, I watch intently, I watch the video, I see it all. We have 26 likes. I still don't see 30. I'm not gonna say anything until there's 30. There's 58 people watching here. It costs you nothing to leave a like, and it does me some good in the algorithm. So, when I see 30 likes, I'm gonna tell you guys the secret to success on the trial field. By the way, I have a trial prep course in which I get deep into the weeds, hours and hours of video on how to appropriately trial prep your dog for tracking, obedience, and protection. But there's one piece to this. There's one piece to this that I actually am gonna add. I might add this video to the trial prep course. Man, those likes are coming in slowly. I guess people don't really want to know. I don't care. I really don't. I'll tell you or I won't. Man, we got 28 likes. You know, some people demand super chats for this type of information. Still 28. That's all right. And I see people dropping off. That's fine. The free knowledge that I'm going to give you guys, I guarantee you will help. You know, a lot of people are afraid to give free value on YouTube. They want to drive you to the courses. I see 30, so I'm going to tell you. A lot of people are afraid to give free value, right? A lot of dog trainers are afraid to give free value because they say, well, if I give free value, they're not going to come to me. They're not going to pay me. And quite frankly, at this point in my career, I'm blessed enough to say, look, I'm happy to have your business, but if you don't give me your business, if you walk away feeling good and having some value from something you've heard me say, for me, that's a win as well. So I'm going to give it to you like that. So let's go. Let's talk about why dogs fail. Here's why your dog fails. Because you lie to yourself in training. You lie to yourself in training. Here is why your dog fails. And I was guilty of this for years, right? I would confuse what my dog was doing in training, right, with all the help that you provide to your dog in training, whether it's the help of a reward, the help of a correction, the help of the way I move my body, the help of being in a familiar place. I would confuse what my dog was doing with all that help present with what my dog could actually do when all the help was gone. And it's hard to be honest with yourself, right? And I know people are like, what do you mean it's hard to be honest with? No, I'm telling you, it is hard to take away all the crutches that you have in your training. And you don't even know because you're so used to doing it, and you've been doing it probably for years, for hundreds of hours. You don't even know all that stuff that you're doing to help your dog in training, to make things better, right? You're like, well, I want my down to look like this. I want my healing to look like this. And your dog, all through training, is making tons of small mistakes. And you are constantly negatively reinforcing the dog to not make those mistakes, negatively reinforcing the dog to perform those behaviors properly, whether it's with a leash, whether it's with your body position, whether it's with an e-collar, whatever it is that you happen to be using. You're constantly helping the dog negatively, and you're helping the dog positively with frequent applications of positive reinforcement, right? Now, you might say, well, no, I trial prepped. I went to the trial field. I went to a mock trial, and he wore his e-collar, but, I didn't really, I didn't correct him, and we went on the field. No, you didn't. I guarantee you. There is almost no dog, and I include my own dogs in this. I include my friend Lucas's dog, my friend Carson's dog, all the guys that I help, and myself, right? The guys that, all the guys I train with, and myself, my own dogs. When I go up there, right? When I go up there, if I really objectively look at the performance of my dog, and I see all the things he does and all the mistakes he made, and I look at what I've been doing in training, and I say, is it really the same? If I take away all the help in training, and I take away all the help on the trial field, which I did, right? Obviously, you don't have a choice, okay? Is it the same? And in 99% of the time, it is the same, right? I look at even my friend Lucas, went up today. He trialed, okay? I guarantee you, his dog did a couple of things in training. I'll give you an example. So his dog was slow in the down and motions. They were okay, but it was slow. Here's why it was slow. His down and motions in training at times have been slow. So he's gotten into the habit of helping the dog with negative reinforcement as well as positive reinforcement to make those down and motions. So he's done that frequently, right? And he did that frequently all the way up until the trial. And then, of course, in the trial, the dog's cold turkey. There's nothing there to help him. And we saw the truth of what the down and motion is without consistent reinforcement. We haven't, in the training, faded consistently the negative and positive reinforcement from the down and motion. So the truth was revealed. Once you stripped away all the help, the truth is revealed, right? Now, if you're training and trial prepping properly, you're stripping away all the help, and you're objectively evaluating, what is my dog? What is my dog truly? What is my dog truly in healing? What is my dog truly in positions? What is my dog truly in whatever the hell it is that you're trialing for? There's only one way to find out, and that is to strip away the help. Sometimes one time, sometimes two times, sometimes three times, and truly evaluate what it is that you are working with, right? Now, a lot of people aren't honest. And I was, like I said, I was one of them, where you kind of get addicted to all these things that you use to make your dog look his best. It's kind of like putting makeup on a pig, okay? You can make that pig look real pretty. So I hear. I don't know. I've never put makeup on a pig. You guys get my analogy, I hope, right? You can make that pig look really, really pretty. But at the end of the day, once you strip that makeup off, it's still an ugly pig, right? So I'm telling you right now, when you use all this help in your training, there's a reason. A lot of people, oh, why are you using this collar or that collar? Why are you using this thing or that thing? People always ask me in the trail, oh, why is this dog wearing that? Because I'm helping him. I'm helping him. And there's nothing wrong with helping your dog in training. But there's something wrong with never showing your dog how to do it without the help, and never having those moments of evaluation where you strip that help away and you see the truth. And then when you see the truth, You say, okay, what is my plan now? I know what the truth is. Maybe the truth is actually not that bad. Or maybe the truth is horrific. Maybe the truth is I probably shouldn't be fucking trialing. I have no business on a trial field, right? It totally depends. But whatever that truth is, okay, I've seen the truth. I have 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks to my trial. What do I do to make this picture as desirable as possible for me and for this dog moving forward, right? How do I fix these problems? I've seen the truth. The truth is, he ain't really going to heal with me longer than 3 minutes without reinforcement. If I don't correct him, right? And a correction includes your voice, by the way. If you have to repeatedly tell the dog to heel, you knew about that in training. You knew about that. If you were honest with yourself, if you wear it, then of course you didn't know about it, right? But at the end of the day, okay, I got 3 minutes of healing in this dog, and then it goes to shit. The wheels fall off. Maybe you notice, hey, if my dog makes 2 or 3 mistakes and I don't correct him, I'm done. I'm done. Might as well just pack my shit up and go, right? Or maybe my dog gets better as the trial goes. Maybe the first minute is the worst minute, but every minute afterwards, he kind of gets more and more into a rhythm, right? Every dog's a little different. My dog's nervy. If I just pull him on the field without taking him on that field a whole bunch of times, it's going to be bad. But if he's been on that field a few times and he's kind of laid out in a down, just waiting to come on the field for 10 minutes before we go on the field, it's really good. But if I just bring him on that field right from the truck onto the field, it's not good. These are the things you need to pay attention to, right? These are the things you really need to understand and pay attention to. Every dog's a little different. There isn't a one size fits all, but the one size fits all portion of this, the real secret is being 100% honest in your training evaluation. And I see so many people afraid to do it. Afraid to do it, afraid to train without corrections, or they do it stupid. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been to an official practice before a trial where I'm at the official practice and I see people with a dog that is out of control, a dog that is out of drive, a dog that is not paying attention to them, and the dog is wearing a fur saver on the field that they're going to be trialing on in like a day or two, and they've got nothing. They've got nothing. And it's like, bro, you're just making it worse. Stop. You're not helping this dog, right? So there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. There's an intelligent way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. You have to understand how the dog thinks. A lot of people, and I'll say this, my friend Lucas, again, I'm going to talk about him because I was at his trial today. He goes, because his dog, look, there's very few times, the most ideal thing that can happen in a trial is everything you see in training with all the help is exactly the same on trial day. And again, some of that is dog dependent. There are some dogs, they're just naturally really biddable, reliable dogs, and they're Mr. Regular. They're Mr. Regular. They don't really change much between training and trialing, but there are some dogs, there's a huge disparity. With Lucas's dog, I gotta say, there wasn't an enormous disparity. The dog got a little more loose, which is common. The dog made some mistakes he doesn't make in training, which is common, but fundamentally it was the same dog, right? If we're being honest, if we're truly being honest and stripping away all the bullshit, it was fundamentally the same dog with some minor different things. And there's always going to be, don't get me wrong, there's always going to be like the one-off thing. There's going to be this random thing or whatever. He never did that before. Usually he has done that before. You just corrected him before he got to doing that, and that's why he didn't do it. But that's another topic altogether. The whole point is, right? Yes, there's off things that can happen. There's always a one-off. There's a reason why world champions, guys that have won at the top, still go into trials and fail with new dogs or even with their experienced dogs. At my last national, there was a dog that won the world, that was on the world team like a couple times in a row. He went out there and he failed a relatively easy track for he just quit, right? Stuff like this happens. It is a dog at the end of the day. But if it happens to you every single time, it's time to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing wrong? And that's what I had to do. That's what I had to do. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I was like, all right, I've put in so much work. I've gone on these fields now a number of times, and I'm not seeing what I want to see. And that requires a cerebral approach. That requires, why? Why? What's really going on? Where am I fucking this up? You know? So, I will say this. And I'm going to be real honest now. I'm going to jump to my dogs. Gage. Gage is Mr. Reliable now. Right? I've got a trial. Watch me say this and something happens. But God forbid, you know, I give my dog, Gage is a very high chance of passing everything. And I think he'll do quite well, to be honest with you. And this is a dog that I really understand him a lot more. Yes, things can still happen. Things can still go wrong. But I give him a very, very high percentage chance of doing quite well at the upcoming regionals. May, I believe it's 19th, 20th in Quebec. Okay? Chico, on the other hand, is not ready to trial. Now, at this point, Chico is 5 years old. I'm trialing him regardless. I know he's not ready to trial. I know he's going to make mistakes. I know if conditions are not optimal, right, he can still fail tracking. Like, he has a much higher percentage chance of failing tracking than Gage does, for instance. He can still not out, right? He can still lose me stupid points in obedience because I know how much help I have to give Chico to get him to do the right things, right? He's not reliable yet. I know he's not reliable because I'm able to be ruthlessly honest about where he's at. Maybe next year he will be, but this year he's not. We're trialing anyways. But whatever happens, happens. If it goes really well, I'll be very happy. But if it doesn't, I won't be all that surprised, right? I'm still going to show the dog, but I know the truth, right? Gage, on the other hand, I expect him to do well. And if he doesn't, well, then it's going to be time for a hard look in the mirror. But this is what I mean, right? Is being brutally honest about where we're at, stripping away the help, not lying to yourself. I'll tell you this too. What you do after the trial is so important. All right, you stepped on the trial field. Your dog passed, your dog won, your dog shit the bed and failed. It doesn't matter. The trainings that you do after the trial, for the first week or two after the trial, are so essential to your success in the future, in the trial. A lot of people say, oh, trial is a good experience for my dog. Oh, we went on the field, he didn't do well, but it was a good experience for him. I don't think so. Your dog went on the field and didn't receive any kind of reinforcement, positive or negative, or maybe he went out of control and bit the decoy or something, in which case he satisfied himself and received positive reinforcement for exactly the wrong behavior. It's not good. I look at trial as like lifespan. If you think about, you're playing a video game, okay? Your trials are like lives. You don't have infinite lives to lose. Again, don't get me wrong. There are some dogs that can trial into their later years and do really well. Most dogs don't. A lot of dogs get worse as the trials continue to build up, right? So for me, I don't view trials as a good learning opportunity unless there's a very few like limited circumstances. I do learning opportunity for the handler. There's nothing that duplicates trialing other than trialing. Those nerves, going on the field, not being sure what's going to happen, you know, seeing what your dog is actually going to do, you're seeing an honest look at where you're at in your training. And for some people, it's the first time they've ever actually been honest with themselves or had that truth basically thrust into their face. Now, a lot of people aren't able to recognize the truth. They're like, they still in denial. No, my dog is this. Oh, it's not the same dog, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is the same dog, motherfucker. It's the same fucking dog. I promise you it's the same dog. He didn't metamorphosize into another dog. It is who he is. He's showing you his true face. He's showing you your true training. Now, you either recognize that and make the adjustments necessary to maximize his success, or you don't. And that's fundamentally it. And again, there is an intelligent way to trial prep your dog. There is a methodology surrounding, there's a thought process you should have around trial prep. Again, I have a trial prep course. I get into the weeds of this. I talk about this for hours in all three phases. But the fundamental theory behind it all, I'm giving you now for free. I'm just telling it to you, right? Is looking at the truth and being objective. And don't look at the truth the day before the trial. That is a bad time to see where your dog is at, right? You see a lot of people like doing last minute shit. And don't get me wrong, last minute shit in the parking lot can save your ass on the day of the trial. But last minute shit in the parking lot with your dog, right? Last minute corrections or rewards or whatever it is, that's not a long-term solution. If you have to keep doing that, you're doing something wrong, right? You should get to the point after a number of trials where you're like, okay, I know this dog. I know what he needs before the trial. I know what I've got to do to have him at his best on trial day. You should go into the trial knowing what points your dog should smoke and what points, this one, I don't expect the best here. Like I know this one, it's a shaky behavior. And then you're not surprised. And when you're not surprised in trial, when things happen the way you expect them to happen, you as a handler, stay calm. And when you're calm, your brain is working. And when your brain is working, you're not panicking, you're not freaking out, you're not freezing up. You're able to help your dog more within the rules. Or when the judge isn't looking, you're able to help your dog more. So every trial is a learning opportunity for you. Every trial is the truth about where your dog truly is without any help. How he truly thinks about the exercises. Does your dog look miserable in the trial? Okay, well, you got one or two problems, right? Well, you probably have two problems. Number one, he might be nervous of the environment. Like things might be making him nervous. He might be a more nervous dog, in which case you have to prepare him for this type of environment. Number two, you probably haven't made him love the behavior enough, right? Like whatever it is. Yeah, he sucks at heeling in trial. He's always checking out. He's way out of position. Well, that's your true heeling. That's your true heeling without all the help, right? He doesn't like it. That's why he doesn't look happy. That's why his ears are back. That's why his tail is down. That's why he's nervous. If he's not loading up in the heeling, if he's going flat, well, he doesn't like fucking heeling, right? He doesn't truly like the behavior. Yeah, maybe he likes the ball when you have the ball there, right? Maybe he sees, he gets a lot of comfort from you utilizing the e-collar, but at the end of the day, he's telling you the truth. He doesn't like heeling, right? So, boom, boom, boom. Sorry, guys. Chandra, that's a good comment. No one wants to admit they have an ugly baby, but some babies are just ugly. Jack hopes Ike is not ugly on Saturday. Yeah, I think, you know what, Chandra, you guys know what Ike is. You know where he's at and Chandra and Jack sometimes come out for training. They help me with my trial prep. You know, we know where Gage is, and Jack really helped me, by the way, prep for nationals. Sorry, guys, I just have to unlock my gate here. Jack really helped me prep for nationals, right? And we did some last minute shit on nationals just to like get the best out of the dog. And what we did, I have to really worked, by the way. Like Gage had, I think, the best protection he could have, albeit the blinds were a little loose, but you know, overall it was such a nice performance. And I credit, you know, Jack for really helping me there, you know, helping me get the dog where I needed him to be. So, but you know, we knew, right? Like we knew, it's like, oh yeah, he's going to be like this. He'll probably make these mistakes. Here are the things that we need to do to make those mistakes less likely. And you know what? He made one or two of those mistakes we thought he would make, but it wasn't a great surprise when it happened in the trial. I was like, yeah, that's my dog. I know what he's going to do. I know his weaknesses. Here's how I'm going to train. And we're, guess what? You know, you guys, I don't know if you guys are going to, yeah, actually, Chandra, you guys are going to be up with us in Quebec. So I'm sure that you guys will help us again, which will be great. Really nice to work with people that are professionals and that know what they're doing. But anyways, guys, this is what I'm saying when it comes to trial prep, is being honest. And look, sometimes you still have to do a Hail Mary, right? Like I'm Hail Marying it with Chico. I know that that dog ain't ready. I know that the wheels can fall off and it might not go well at all, right? And I also have a plan to try and prepare him as much as I can and make it as likely as possible that we at least pass. But we also are honest, right, about where we're really at in terms of the training. So I say that to say this. Really important to be honest about your dog in training. Very important. I don't think enough people are, and then they're always surprised. And show your dog the trial picture, guys. It's not hard. It's not complicated. Read the rules. Understand where the points are. Like, here's one thing, I see people killing their dog, putting so much pressure on their dog over an exercise that costs you like 5 points, right? And then ignoring the exercise that's like 35 points, right? When it's like you're making all this pressure here and all that pressure here, again, it's ROI, right? How much effort are you putting in? All this stuff you're doing to your dog, is it really worth it? Like, is it really worth it? All the downside here that you're possibly creating with all this pressure you're putting on your dog for a 5-point exercise, is that worth it, right? Versus the 35-point exercise, right? Focusing on what's actually important. A lot of people don't actually, and I was guilty of this for the longest time, really not understanding the rules whatsoever and focusing on stuff that just didn't matter. Don't do that. Focus on what really matters. Focus on the big points. And then if you have time, focus on the little points. But the big points is everything. And understanding too, there are certain things, if you allow your dog to do it, you're going to have a bad trial, right? And it might not even be worth all that many points, right? But it's like, okay, if I allow my dog to vocalize, he's going to be really unclear throughout the whole trial and it's not going to be good. Okay, well, you know this. So now you know it's worth your time to get rid of that vocalization. Or conversely, if I allow my dog to vocalize a little bit, I'm not talking about like he's barking next to me the whole time, but if I allow my dog to vocalize a little bit, right, he's actually going to be more in drive. He's going to be more powerful through the whole routine. So will I lose points for the vocalization? Yes, I will. Is it worth it? Is it going to make my dog have a better emotion through everything? Yes, it will, right? So those are two different, it's the same problem, but it could have two very different outcomes. And again, that comes to you knowing your dog and actually training in a realistic way that you find this stuff out and So I'll tell you this, for instance, with Gage, I'm not putting all this pressure on him to be silent. It's not worth it for me. In fact, I encourage him often in the training to be vocal, because when he's vocal and active, the nerves inside of him don't affect him as much. Versus Chico, for instance, I can't have that motherfucker too vocal, because if he's too vocal, he's going to go out of control, right? So those are two different dogs, two different nervous systems, two different responses to allowing the same behavior, right? Let's see some of these comments here. How would a dog like Chico have done in the hands of a semi-new sport hobbyist? I'd love a strong, powerful representative of the breed, and I'm willing to work hard and learn, but I don't want to be stupid. Yeah, that dog is not for anyone that's new. That dog is not for anyone that's new. Like, he would just be completely out of control, and you probably wouldn't even pass, to be honest with you, once you started getting into the protection work. I'll tell you this too. The other thing too, I'll say this, and this is just like a general comment, okay? And some people take it for what it is. I see a lot of dogs that do well in the obedience and the control side, right? Like they're very with the handler, they're very obedient, but you can look at those dogs and you can see that they're empty. You can see that they're with the handler and they're being reliably obedient with the handler because they're really not that confident. They're not that strong. And those are the dogs that you see the wheels fall off in protection. And you see it time and time again, right? Where it's like, The dog is hanging on by a thread. Yes, the dog is good in the obedience, but the dog is good in the obedience not because it's a good dog, and maybe not even because the training's that good. The dog is good in the obedience because the dog is weaker, and weakness equals more compliance, right? I'm not that confident. I'm not that strong. Mommy or daddy is going to keep me safe. Mommy or daddy tells me what to do, and I always listen to mommy or daddy, right? Versus, yeah, I can take on the world. I'm King Kong. I walk up and I own everything around me. I look at it, it's mine. That's a different kind of mentality. One kind of mentality, very easy to work with. Yes, I will listen to you. I'll follow all your instructions because you must be stronger than me. You must know better than me. You know, I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. I'm going to stay close to you because you know everything, right? And you're going to keep me safe versus there's a lot of cool shit around here and I'm going to go and take that and I'm going to take that and I think I'm going to go bite that. Very different mentality. Oh man, this guy's telling me to do stuff. I don't want to, you know? So you have to kind of understand what you're working with as well. And a lot of people these days, I find, are sacrificing strength for compliance, right? They don't really understand how to make a strong, powerful dog compliant with them. So they're sacrificing that for compliance. Let's see what else we got here. So I'm in the USA. I want a dog, but was wondering what the deal was. If I drive up, will they care on the way back across? No, Urban Adventures, they won't. You just got to have a rabies certificate. I've been training for 5 months every day, and I can't get my dog to keep eye contact for more than 35 steps without a treat. Well, if you're training, let's see here. Let me see. If you're training for, like you're training your pet, your pet dog does not need to make eye contact with you for any reason. It's unnecessary. Like focus heel with pet dogs is just a waste of time. It's completely unnecessary. But a lot of people force it for some strange reason and think it's going to actually translate into their dog walking next to them, which it will not. If you're doing it for dog sport, well, I would say that convincing your dog to do that for food is probably not the only way to go. Again, what I say to everybody is fundamental principles of dog training, right? You're asking your dog to do something unnatural. Walk next to me and stare at me the entire time and maintain this position. Don't be too far in front. Don't be too far behind. Pivot your rear end in line with mine. Stare at me fixedly and be fucking happy. This isn't natural for a dog to do. So if it's not natural for a dog to do, well, you found out that you can bribe your dog into doing it. And I say bribe because the second the dog perceives that there's no more possibility of him getting what he wants, he's out. Right? That's bribery, right? You have to bribe him. You have to say, hey, buddy, here's the money. Can you do X, Y, and Z for me, right? Or, right, you have to bribe. But if you're training properly, what you're going to do is you're going to motivate, all right, which you kind of have a little bit with bribery, but bribery isn't enough. Bribery isn't actually motivation. Motivation is actually getting the dog to love doing what it is that you want him or her to do. That is motivation, okay? And then obligation. You have to fucking do it. It's not an option to not do it. You must do it. There is a consequence if you don't do it. And it's a consequence the dog must understand, right? Right? Your dog has to understand why something happened. Well, I'm correcting you because you're not staring at me fixedly and maintaining this heel position that I taught you. How do you teach the dog to do that? Well, this is why we have courses with step-by-step videos, blah, blah, blah. And again, I'm not holding out on you. It's just literally way too complicated to go into in a quick YouTube live. But motivation, obligation, if your training doesn't have this, that is your answer as to why your dog can't do X, Y, or Z under various circumstances. All right, guys. I think I reached the end of this one. I'm going to wrap it up. Well, Brad, I see your comment, and I will get back to you tomorrow on the email. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you found it valuable. I hope you got your... And by the way, for those of you that aren't trialing and aren't interested in dog sport, what I would say to you is that the fundamental principle that I got across to you here applies to literally anything in dog training, right? The truth will set you free. Be honest in your training. And then it's not that we don't help the dog. You know, a lot of people will take what I say and say, okay, well, I got to get rid of everything. I got to get rid of the rewards. I got to get rid of the corrections. That's not the way. That's not the way you do it either, right? But what you got to do is you got to prepare your dog to go without, and then prepare your dog to go with and without, right? It's a process to get your dog from with to without and then back again, right? Think of it as a fighter preparing for a fight. He doesn't go to the gym and have a fight every single day. He does 1,000 different things with varying levels of help to prepare for his fight. And then after his fight, he does a bunch of stuff to go back into training mode. It's the same with trialing a dog. Yes, Kevin, that's actually a really good idea. I will make a Patreon video on obligation. Thank you. That's actually a really good idea. I think that video needs to be done. All right, guys. See you on the next one.